Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services, as usual. And we've got some sad news today. Many of you might have heard the news already, but we've just lost one of Hollywood's prime movers and shakers, Hollywood royalty, filmmaker, director, producer, Richard Donner. Big Dickie Donner! Yes, at the age of 91, he was born April 1930 in New York. Long-time marriage to Hollywood producer Lauren Schuler Donner, and the two were a powerhouse. How many absolutely classic movies did he make? Well, not that many when you think about it, but the ones he did make, oh my god, two of which now reside in, I think, what's it called? The National Film Registry in America for their artistic, aesthetic, cultural and historical relevance, and they are Superman, the movie, and the Goonies. Yes, Richard Donner made Superman the movie. He made us believe a man could fly. He genuinely did. He also worked, because Superman 2 were done back to back, and of course fans now have access to what is called the Richard Donner cut. I don't think it's a better version because it's not a complete film, but it doesn't matter. Superman the movie is the most essential and best superhero movie ever made. It's not just a great superhero movie, it's a great film, full stop. It's a great origin story, it's an epic story, and he gets one hell of a performance out of Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, and of course Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Everybody in it is fantastic. And for a guy like Richard Donner to come in and make a movie about Superman, people were like, really? You're going to put a real life man in that costume and make him fly through the air? Good luck with that one. Well, it worked, and it worked so staggeringly well that it spawned a franchise, didn't it? Obviously. But also, Richard Donner, The Omen. One of the greatest horror movies ever made. I've spoke about it very, very often, and I always can't help but compare it to The Exorcist. Both religious horror movies, both dealing with the occult and the Antichrist and the devil and all that, but I love The Omen far more. Again, it spawned a franchise. Shocking sequences, tremendous bravura set pieces. Lethal Weapon. I've said before as well that when that film first came out, I was only a teenager, but I grew my hair like Martin Riggs. I tried to source all the clothing that Mel Gibson wore. I quoted the film. I actually won prizes in pubs under the guise of Martin Riggs. My poor, long-suffering wife, Mrs. Kilt-Man, met me as a Martin Riggs wannabe, and she grew to love the movies as well. Now, and what a terrific franchise that is. He worked with Mel Gibson several times, obviously the four Lethal Weapon movies, the Western Maverick, and Conspiracy Theory, and they got on great. And that's another thing about Richard Donner, is that he cut his teeth in the 60s and 70s making so many TV episodes. I've compiled a slight list, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. Kojak, Streets of San Francisco, Cannon, Ironside, Petrocelli, The Banana Splits, Wild Wild West, Perry Mason, Gilligan's Island, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Twilight Zone, Have Gun Will Travel, The Rifleman, and Wanted Dead or Alive. That's just a smattering of what he did. And sometimes he would do several episodes in a season, or sometimes he just did one or two episodes of an entire show, and that would be it. But from the 60s onwards, he was working continually, and that's how he cut his teeth, and that's how he gained a reputation as a guy that could come in and get the job done. He's not like, say, Ridley Scott or James Cameron, people who came after him, who have got very, very staunch reputations, and they're quite hardline, antagonistic. They get great performances, they produce great movies, but they're hard to get along with. Richard Donner was never like that. At 6'2", he was a big bear of a man, but he was the most amicable, friendly person going. There's nobody that has a bad word to say about him. Nobody. He was much cherished, much loved. He retired quite some time ago, actually. The last film he did was 16 Streets, 16 Blocks, isn't it? 16 Blocks with Bruce Willis. And it was an okay actioner. It wasn't anything to write home about, but you're hearing Superman now. Superman, the Goonies, Lethal Weapon, the Omen. That's enough to cement any filmmaker as a titan, an absolute sheer titan of Hollywood. It's just genius, isn't it? One of his trademarks was that he tried not to use the same film composer for each successive movie, unless it was a sequel, as in Lethal Weapon, which he'd bring back Michael Kamen each time, and Eric Clapton as well. So, and you'll hear more Lethal Weapon as well, and you'll hear some Goonies coming on. It's a little playlist, and you'll hear Jerry Goldsmith. Now, Jerry Goldsmith is the guy he brought back for the film Timeline, but unfortunately, Jerry Goldsmith's score, as happens sometimes, was rejected. So another score was brought in, but Jerry Goldsmith's score is available, and it's much better. But this is what happens. But I think what I was trying to say before, the way he cut his teeth in many TV shows, he would get a family of, his producers, his set designers, his actors, obviously, his writers, his editors. Everybody in that production unit became a family. And Richard Donner, more than any other director, seems to have fostered this sort of thing, of getting this network around him of people he knows and trusts, and breeding harmony in that environment. None more so than the entire Lethal Weapon franchise, because these guys, Danny Glover, Martin Riggs, Mel Gibson, Richard Donner, and everybody else, Joe Pesci, all got on so well. They couldn't wait to work together again and again and again. You look at Maverick, the big screen version of the James Garner comedy western series with Mel Gibson as Maverick. Jodie Foster's in there too. But you've also got that scene of the bank robber, and it's Danny Glover, with a bandana around his face, and they're kind of going like that. They're looking at each other, and then Mel Gibson sort of pulls down the bandana, and it's Danny Glover, and then and off he goes. It's wonderful. You shouldn't be able to get away with stuff like that in movies, because it's breaking the fourth wall. It's breaking, the story, but it works because we know these people so well, these characters so well, these performers, that they can get away with murder, and that's what he was doing with Lethal Weapon. Now, all last year, even though Richard Donner was old and retired, rumours were circulating heavily that Lethal Weapon 5 was going to get made, and Richard Donner was going to come back and direct it again. Now, yeah, you could have a lot of judgments about that. Is it a good idea? Would it still work? And my own personal feelings about the Lethal Weapon franchise is the first one is a masterpiece. The second one's very enjoyable. The third one should just be called Lethal Weapon Son of a Bitch, because every other word in it is son of a bitch. Play that drinking game. You'll be completely sloshed and in need of a stomach pump by 5 minutes in. Bravo, you son of a bitch. And then Lethal Weapon 4, and the gang's all here, the gang's all back again. And I began to realise, the first one was a masterpiece. It's a hard-edged thriller. It's got lots of humanity, compassion, lots of emotion to it. Great action set pieces, great characters, but it's funny as well. And at the end of it, see, now you're hearing Lethal Weapon by Honeymoon Suite. This is the vocal version, and I love it actually. But do yourself a favour, don't ever watch the music video that goes alongside this title track. Don't. Jesus, don't do it. Song is great, videos apocryphal. But I began to realise that family aspect was what was holding it together. Once the first movie was out the way, don't worry about plot, don't worry about thrills and spills and action. It's just the camaraderie, the banter, the funny one-liners, the interplay and the timing was what made the rest of the film so enjoyable. And they do. So the fact that they were going to come back and do another one, or it's being mooted, I actually thought, that could actually work. because Donna would be a hell of a lot older, obviously 90s, but they're all older now, and they've all gone, well, Gibson's gone through a lot of stuff, and I thought, yeah, it'll be about turning a corner, and they're all older guys now, they're all on walking sticks and Zimmer frames. How would that be? And the thing is, Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, Richard Donner have appeared many times, interviewed in magazines and on reunion panels, and they've had an absolute ball. They've had such a mega laugh with each other, and it's infectious. That to bring that sort of chemistry back again, to use one of their own taglines, the magic is back. Yeah, it would have worked. So obviously Richard Donner is no longer with us now. But would it be so bad to still get another Lethal Weapon movie out and maybe have that guy there, who is a magnificent and Oscar-winning director in his own right, to do it as a homage to Richard Donner? I don't know. I think that could work. I still love Mel Gibson stuff. Still love it. I'll be reviewing Boss Level soon, so you can look forward to that. That's his latest. And he knows all the tricks and the insides and exactly how Richard Donner would work and form it all together. And to do it in honour of Richard Donner. Little rhyme there as well. I think that'd be great. I think that could be a terrific little send-off. But again, the great man himself. Not that many movies. There's a few. By far, most of what he'd done was on TV. But once he hit the big time with The Omen, and what a big time that was. You know, his name was cemented. His style was never that sort of visionary. He wasn't visceral. Despite the action movies and the Goonies, the hyperkinetic chase and, you know, booby traps and craziness of the Goonies, it was fun. He filmed, again from the TV style, it was a very sort of conventional style of filming. No flash cuts, no complete Jason Bourne style editing. It was none of that hyperkinetic style of wildness. He told a story. He made it, his films would make sense. His characters occupied all the time. You'd have them on screen talking to each other. You'd have action scenes where you knew exactly what was happening. There was no confusion whatsoever. Now, he straddled genres as well. Obviously with the likes of The Omen, pure horror. And he nailed it. My God, did he nail that. The film still terrifies the hell out of me. The killer storm that you're going to hear, and the dog attack in the old Etruscan cemetery, Mrs. Blaylock, Billy Whitelaw, that Rottweiler, all that stuff. The decapitation, come on now. Set piece mayhem was brilliant, innovative, and just so well told and so well done that the film has become an absolute bona fide classic of the genre. Superman, again, set piece, heartwarming, heartbreaking, genuinely funny, genuinely exciting, quirky, eccentric, and a complete and utter nostalgic trip, paying so much respect to the original comics, the Action Comics, and the whole DC character of Action Man, of Superman, Action Man. But he captured it all, and he broke the mould. People were terrified of making superhero movies. They all wanted to do it, but how are they going to do it? These guys have got powers, and this guy can fly, this guy's got a hammer, this guy's got a shield. We can't do all this kind of stuff, you know. But he showed that he could do it. You'd have Jaws as the first blockbuster. Star Wars, again, blockbuster. Superman, absolute blockbuster. And that's what opened the floodgates to huge, big budget action adventure fantasies. He would go on to do Ladyhawke as well. Now, Ladyhawke he loved. I've got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think the soundtrack fits it whatsoever. And Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, Rutger Hauer, I don't know. I just don't know. I've tried to get into it a few times and it just doesn't work for me. But I think that's not Richard Donner's fault. I think that is the fault. It's just the story. It doesn't connect with me at all. And I don't think the soundtrack works with it in the least. But, alright, here we are. This is The Omen, Jerry Goldsmith. This is The Killer Storm. which is very apt because where I am right now has been ravaged by torrential rain for almost 24 hours and wrought absolute havoc on Kilt Mansion. Absolute havoc. The house that's made out of Swiss cheese, that's what this place is. So we've got indoor water features, we've got indoor lagoons. You know, if you look closely, you'll see shark fins circling behind here. We're knee deep in water. But Donner was such a lovely, affable guy, a big fella. He often cast his cousin, Steve, oh, what's his name? Steve Kahn. And Steve Kahn plays Captain Murph in the Lethal Weapon movies. He's in many, many films, and Donner would always try to bring him into his films as well. And the thing is, he looks just like Richard Donner. When I was a kid, well, a teenager, and I knew who the guy was, and I'd see him in Lethal Weapon, I'd be saying, that's the director there, that's Richard Donner. Not realising, oh no, it's his cousin. And I like that. They always found a part, somehow to bring a bit of family in as well. This is poor Patrick Troughton as the priest, who just warned Gregory Peck that, you know, the son he's got there isn't really his son. That baby boy he's got there is the son of a jackal. And a storm breaks out, and he's running to the church. Lightning bolts flashing everywhere, thunder and lightning, just tremendously vigorous and exciting. But again, for an action sequence, a bravura, highly powerful action sequence, Donner made sure he shot it so you knew exactly what was happening. Lightning bolts hitting trees, you know, and Patrick Troughton climbing over fences, banging on the doors of the church, which is not open for him, you know. And look at Lethal Weapon again, all the helter-skelter action set pieces there. You know what's happening. Everything is so meticulously choreographed and worked out that you're in no doubt as to what's happening. You're not like left in the dark with some stupidly badly edited and badly CG'd sort of conception. He knew the stuff, and he was very workmanlike, and he created such a great on-set camaraderie that everyone gave their best. A lot of improv, especially in these movies, hence that line, that word, son of a bitch, which so haunts me from Lethal Weapon 3 and really does bug the hell out of me. I might enjoy the film, but I think he was kind of giving a bit too much time to the people that he loved. Just look, there's the script there, there's the bare bones, but you guys just have a laugh, just do what you do best. I trust you. And just too much of this managed to get through into the final cut, I think. Here's some more Superman. This is the helicopter sequence, which is just an absolute classic. Again, you think of the set pieces in the Omen, you think of the set pieces in Lethal Weapon and the Goonies, but Superman, that helicopter rescue of Lois Lane, and then the montage of rescues that he does, and then the way the pace gets brought down where he captures the burglar, he was like climbing up with his suction cups, and he's just standing there looking down. It's genius. It's absolute genius. I wish he'd made more movies, in fact. I mean, there are inside moves is great. Conspiracy Theory is okay. I don't mind it. But he did Antonio Banderas and Stallone in Assassins. People forget about that. He did Assassins as well. And 16 Blocks. Scrooged. Bill Murray. Scrooged. One of the great tellings of that story of A Christmas Carol, told modern time as a modern day fable, and Bill Murray is excellent in it. It's funny, it's exciting as well, but it's such a well told and crafted, varied adaptation of that story. But it's all there, all the beats are there, and it works, but it's brought into the modern day world so successfully. So he worked in every genre. A lot of comedy was in there, Western with the Maverick, and of course all the TV shows. He did police procedurals with all the TV shows as well. Horror, The Omen, sci-fi and fantasy with the likes of Superman and Lady Hawk. Obviously thrillers, Conspiracy Theory and Assassins and Lethal Weapon and all that. But everything's there. He didn't get hemmed down and boxed in on one particular genre. He wasn't the go-to guy. Well, this is a cop thriller. We need Richard Donner for this. No, because he could do anything. Look at the Goonies. The Goonies straddles everything there as well. It's family entertainment. It's a teenage kid, escapade and adventure. But it's also a pirate story. It's also got elements of horror, elements of gangs, the Fratellis and all that. It's so much going on. It celebrates deformity as well with sloth. Come on, it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Donner had stopped making movies quite a while ago. But I think it would have been something to have had a final payoff. The fact that they did sit for reunions, he, Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, and they were talking about doing this, Lethal Weapon 5. In a way, you kind of suppose it was never meant to happen. But I do think, they could do it. This guy could helm it. Give him the chance to do it. I know he's still a Hollywood bad boy, but Donner loved him, and he loved Donner. They had a sort of telepathy. They knew what they were doing, and Danny Glover as well. The three of them working together, it was magic on screen, and you felt it. Donner could imbue those characters with such strength and fire that they sizzled off the screen, and you felt like part of it. And this is what I'm saying about the family unit, how he managed to, his crew and everyone who was working with him, bring them in, and they enjoyed working with him. No matter what the setup might be on a street, a huge set, the Krypton, or the Fortress of Solitude, or whatever, or the caves and the Goonies, wherever. Everyone worked together, pulled together, and had a good time. And it was him, Richard Donner, at the helm. He made us believe a man could fly, for real. Richard Donner, sir, you made some of my favourite movies of all time. Cheers. And I'm not religious, but you made me fear the devil. And especially his son. Folks, I'm not going to end it there. I'm going to end it with a bit of fun and hijinks. This is the Fratellis chase from Goonies. And it's a nice sort of anarchic, sort of 60s escapade. Dave Grusin did the soundtrack to this. They love Goonies as well. They had so many reunions, and the stories that all the cast could tell, and Richard Donner as well. In fact, they had one only last year during the pandemic, and Richard Donner was involved in that, all on Zoom. But he had a bit of trouble with the sound on his. But once he got it sorted, he became the raconteur we all knew him as. Look at the cast you had in there, in Goonies. Sam's there, a lot thinner than when he became a Hobbit. Josh Brolin. What's his face with the Craggs, playing one of the Fratellis, who plays a thug in everything. Because with that face, he can't play a good guy, can he? Although, having said that, he's an FBI guy in Die Hard, isn't he? So they can, him and his cohort, we can afford to lose 70% of the hostages. Yeah, I can live with that. I do a lot of these little tributes and obituaries, and even though you don't know the person, but because you've grown up with someone like this, and the movies have, if you're watching this, you're a big fan of movies, clearly, and if you watch my channel often enough, you know that movies dominate my entire life. That film changed my life, that character changed my life at a very pivotal point when I'd be 16, 17 years old. So even though I never met Richard Donner, he's been part of my life and for many others too. So even getting, I don't know this guy, I've never met him, but the news that he's died, it's like, these little videos are always tinged with a bit of sadness, genuine emotional sadness, that because they have shaped the course of my life, certainly. Sometimes only small ways, but sometimes in great ways. And Richard Donner, without a doubt, was a massive influence upon the way my outlook on life, and the things that I've collected, the things that I've done, have been shaped by the movies he's made. I've written extensively about Superman and The Omen. And this was an absolute blitzkrieg in my life, a zeitgeist moment, and electrifyingly good, and just changed the course and direction that I was heading in. Some would say not for the best, but you just gotta love this, the energy behind all this. And one-eyed Willie, to get away with something like that, you know, with that sort of knowing, it's perfect, isn't it? And again, in the Goonies, you've got that emotion where he's talking to One-Eyed Willie, and everyone's behind him, and they're all listening. Did you hear all that? Yeah, we had enough. It is very moving that he could put into films of high energy, high octane, explosions, the occult. He could put real sense of emotion in there as well. He was the master of it all. And again, no massive pow-wow visual effects, just very methodically done, and sort of in an old school fashion. To do a film like Superman now, I mean, look at Zack Snyder, look at the way that superhero movies are now. That is absolutely poles apart from what Richard Donner did, and yet they wouldn't be doing that now if Richard Donner hadn't opened those gates and allowed caped crusaders and spandex onto celluloid film. No, we're not done yet. Big Dickie Donner, Ave Satani. Also one of Jerry Goldsmith's finest themes. Certainly his most terrifying of themes. And I think Donner had done maybe one or two films before doing The Omen, but only one or two, and he'd done TV movies, I'm not counting those, but a couple of theatrical releases, but which were very, very low key, and the titles probably wouldn't ring any bells with you, but so to land this, wow, that was a hell of a coup, that. And the film was big even before it came out, because everyone knew this was getting made, and then the whole curse, which he paid respect to the when people talked about the curse of making The Omen, he respected the thing, because the things had definitely happened. So, but there was a twinkle in his eye when he told the stories about planes crashing and stuff like, and all this, certain people dying. But as people say, if a film takes a long time to be made, and then post-production, people will die during the course of the making of that movie. That's just what happens. But there is a lot more to the Omen than that, though. Dick Donner, I salute you, sir. I have been, and always shall be, kilted for your entertainment. Please, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, be happy, be healthy, and enjoy yourselves. Always strive to enjoy yourselves. And let's hope that maybe we get a Lethal Weapon 5 just done, maybe in his honour. Why not? Why not? I'd be up for that. Folks, take it easy. Good to see you all. Namaste.